All right, y'all. Today we are going to be installing an inverter here on my 2023 Kia Sportage Hybrid. There are no 110 volt outlets in the car, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this bad boy in the rear cargo area, but first, before that, we do need to test that an inverter actually works with the fuse box, because up front there is no 12 volt battery system for you to put your terminals on. So instead what we have is a positive terminal that comes out from the fuse block, and we're going to use that along with another piece of metal to run our negative to, and we're going to see if this 500 watt inverter will work before we get wire and everything to run it to the back. So let's go ahead and see if it works. This is a positive terminal, but if you follow the metal this way, you can actually see that this sticks up. It's actually a little bit better to test with alligator clips. I'm not going to use these in the final install, but for now I'm just going to hook that one there because that's the easiest location. Then I'm going to take the negative terminal and I'm going to just hook that to a bolt over here so we can see that we've got power there coming from the positive terminal. And it looks like we should be able to turn this on and get a green light. So that is good, but we're going to take it one step further. I'm actually going to plug in a charger to this that's going to pull some power to make sure we don't trip anything inside the car or actually in the inverter itself. So let's do that. So what I've got here is a 24 volt battery. This is a DIY battery that I made. I know it looks like a bomb, but it's not. So I've got that plugged in already to the charger, which is right here. And this should go ahead and light up green, or sorry, it's going to light up red because the charging is not complete as soon as we power on the inverter. So let's go ahead and flip this switch here, make sure this works. All right, we got green there, got red there. Fan is going, I can feel it. This one will probably kick on. Now we're gonna go into the car and see if anything's going on the dash. So we're in the car, as you can see, no messages, no warnings, nothing really happening other than it telling me that my hood is up, so that is good. We're gonna go ahead and go forward with this install. At Home Depot, got some 10 gauge wire, 25 feet worth. It's gonna be more than enough, and then a ring terminal for 10 to 12 gauge wire. So now we're ready to put it in. All right, now we do need to crimp our connector on because this is going to be going on that terminal that is on the outside of the fuse box. So I highly recommend that you use a crimper like this, a hydraulic crimper. Does a much better job. All right, here you can see our connection at the end of our 10 gauge wire. This is gonna go into the fuse box, and then we're gonna run this wire all the way down through this front engine compartment and down to the back and then up into the trunk cargo area. So let's put this on there, just make sure it fits, and then we'll get started on the good stuff. Okay, so this terminal here is gonna be the one that we're gonna use. So I'm just gonna take it off and then put one on top of it because I'm already running this for my trailer wiring. So the ring terminals that I got at Home Depot were actually a little bit small. I had to widen this one up. So they were for an 8 to 10 size stud. I recommend going one size up, but like I said, if you have a drill bit or something, that's what I did in order to widen this out, just so I can get on the stud just enough to tighten it down. So this is what it's gonna look like when you're done. And we're ready to start running some cord all the way down through this to the back of the car. I also added an inline fuse with a 30 amp fuse in it coming up here to the fuse box. Even though the inverter does have fuse protection, I just want to make sure that nothing is coming up and damaging this part. I'd much rather a fuse break than anything else because we're not coming out of a single fuse slot. We're coming out of the terminal that's in the fuse box, so I definitely don't want to risk damaging that in any way. So a good solution for that is just an inline fuse like this. Because I have this yellow cord that runs to the trailer wire harness, we actually already have a path moving forward, but the yellow only goes so far. That is spliced to a black cord, but you can see that black cord runs all the way down there, straight in the middle of this shot into the wheel well. And that's what we're gonna do with this cord. We're gonna follow that because there's a little path that actually, once you get into the wheel well, there's some plastic that opens up that you can get in there and grab this green wire once it gets put down there. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna shove it down into that spot, and we're gonna grab it from the tire, the front, and we're gonna grab it from the front driver's side tire wheel well. All right, there you can see the green and the black wire joining up. We're gonna push that now, and then we're gonna go down from the wheel well, and we're gonna pull that so that we can continue routing it under the car. You'll wanna turn the wheels to the left so that you can get in there, but this is essentially where we're gonna find that green wire. There's a little cutout there. We're gonna grab that and continue routing it. So now that we've got the cable coming out of this little opening here in the plastic, we are gonna put it back here behind the sway bar link, and then we're gonna have to turn the tire in order to get some better access and a better view here, but we're gonna shove as much of it as we can down through there. And we're gonna pull all that slack out that's up in the engine bay. This is the view from the back side of the tire on the driver's side. We just wanna make sure that we pull the cable up over any moving components, so specifically this, and the sway bar link's gonna move a little bit, but not too much, and then we have the axle. We don't want it anywhere close to that. So we keep it up over here, should be good to go, and then we're gonna pull that back and follow my cord that I have right here, which is gonna take us this way. Then we're gonna need to really get under the car and pull it out. All right, so now that we have the cable pulled through and past the wheel well, if we look here in this little hole where I have my trailer wiring running, that's where we're gonna feed the wire into. And then that actually is under this protected area that is going to need to be removed with sockets. But once we get the cable up under here, it's pretty much protected from any of the elements. We're gonna run that back pretty far, and then we're gonna take it to the rear of the car. So in order to remove this panel, we are going to need a wrench or a socket of some sort, but also you can just unscrew these by hand. I believe there are gonna be 2 of these that we need to get off with a tool, so that's what we're gonna do now. It appears that our 10mm wrench is gonna do the trick. If you're interested in using a set like this or buying a set like this, then check out the link in the bio. When we're putting the wire through the hole there, it does need to come out this way towards the outside of the car, because the hole isn't exactly squared up with it on the inside underneath this little cover. So as you can see, you do have to push it towards you a little bit as you're pulling it through, but once you get it there, then we're just gonna pull all this out into the covered space. All right, so I left one of the retainer screws in down at the bottom. So what I'm doing, I'm just shoving all my slack into here so that I can pull it back through the rear. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so you can see our wire here peeking out through the back. We're just gonna pull that. And now we are through that covered portion, so we can go ahead and reseal that. Got the end of our wire here, and then we're just gonna continue following my trailer wiring, which is going to, I think this is the fuel tank. We're gonna go up over the tubing for that. All right, so this is where it gets a little bit hard, because we gotta get way under there, and then we have to run this wire up over kind of the rear suspension parts back here. So if we look closely, I already have my black wire running up over all this stuff towards the back, but we do need to keep it out of all this. So like the control arms back there, all this, we're gonna try to get a better view for you, but it's gonna be a little bit tough. So let me see what I can do, but we're tucking it up and we're gonna pull it past the rear wheel well. So let's follow it from this plate back here. I'm gonna go up, over that, and then I'm actually going to zip tie my wire up here to be a little safer, but it's going up over this piece here. It's very important. And then we're going to go to the back side. We're gonna pull it out there. I just have it all pulled down through. We don't wanna go under any of this. We wanna keep going up and over all of the suspension back there, the axle, everything, to keep this out of the way of any moving component. We are now on the rear driver's side wheel well on the back side of the tire, and if we're looking up, look towards the right of that coil spring, you should see a black wire. That's gonna be our path. We're gonna follow that back out this way, and then from here, it's very easy. This is where our hitch wiring and stuff is. So again, another look. I'm gonna go up over all those components, up over this here, pull it all back, and then we're home free almost. All right, here's a look now that it's pulled through. Follow that green wire. Now we're gonna go up into the car. We already have a nice little hole here that's gonna go into the spare tire compartment, and it's currently up there protected by a little piece of rubber, but once you pull that out, you can essentially just run this right up through there. So I've got it started. We're gonna go in the back, show you guys where it is, and then we'll pull it out. So there's a little rubber grommet right here in the spare tire compartment. We're gonna pull that out, and that's where our wire is gonna come up through. Now we gotta try to fish it out. So let me do that and I'll show you guys. This is what it should look like down low now that you've got the wire run up through that. So let's go up into the cargo compartment back there and pull it all the way out and get started. So I am going to put a little hole through the rubber grommet that was protecting it in the first place so that we can run the cable up through it and still get a little bit of moisture protection to limit the amount of moisture that's allowed into that spare tire compartment beneath the cargo space. All right, the deed is done, so now time to run our wire through it. All right, wire's through. Now we're gonna slide this back down into its original location back there so we can plug it up, and then we're gonna get started putting the wires to the inverter, and then of course making sure we do have a negative cable grounded somewhere. All right, looking good. Now we've got our wire run over to this side. This is where I actually intend to mount the inverter, right there on that flat side. But we do need to get a connector on this end so that we can hook it up to the inverter so that we can test that the connections are okay before we finally install it and start using it. We have our new connection crimped, connected to the positive there, up to the battery. And then I still have this negative cable here with an alligator clip, just grounding it to some metal in the back to test it. So let's see if we get a green light. That's what we're looking for. And we are good to go. We are in business. So we're gonna get this baby mounted, but we do need to ground that negative wire before we are complete with this install. I've used my excess wire for both the positive and negative terminals, and then I put another connector on because we need to ground this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little screw like this, and I've got a washer here that I'm actually going to use as well, and then we're going to go down into that spare tire compartment. We're going to drill this into some metal so that it stays put, and so that's in a protected area away from the weather, no corrosion, and that's going to finish the install. We just need to put up the actual inverter where I plan on mounting it and then show you guys what it looks like in action. We're down in the spare tire compartment again, and this is where we're just going to ground the terminal here, and I think probably the safest spot is going to be over here by this grommet because we know that it's hollow down there. There's a little bit of space for wiring, so I'm going to drill it in there so it's nice and secure, protected from any weather, and then we're almost done. You do need a self-tapping screw in order to do that a little more easily, and then I put a washer on top, tightened it all up. We're good to go. A little extra wire hanging out down there, but no big deal. If we come up to the top here, so I actually mounted mine with little screws that I had left over. They were real short, less than a 1/2 inch for sure. Used 3 of those, 2 on this side and then 1 on this side because the terminals make the other one a little bit hard to get to. One thing you do want to make sure is that you tighten down those terminals by hand. Make sure they're super tight. And there you have it. This is what she looks like. So I've got my battery, I've got my charger. This is actually a 10 amp charger, so much faster. This is something I would use in the car while I'm traveling to charge up batteries. But the charging voltage is 29.2 at 10 amps, so you just multiply those 2 numbers. Theoretically, we're well over 290 watts. But let's go ahead and plug it in and make sure that everything is functioning properly. Flip it on, green light there, double reds there, so we are charging. Did you guys hear that? Actually a little bit of sound coming out of the inverter too. So one thing I do want to point out about this setup is I actually have the car turned off right now, but as you can see we still have a green light and this is still running. So one thing we want to make sure that we're doing is really only using this when the car is plugged in and generating power, so we're not draining that 12-volt system. So anytime the car is off, I think we should be flipping that to off, because even though it's not running, it still actually was charging the battery. And if we flip it on again, I imagine it's going to do the same thing. Oh, nope. All right, so that's good. So that's an undercurrent alarm, I believe. It's not enough power to actually generate what this needs at this point in time. So that's good to know, but in any case, I still think we should be running this only when the car is on. That is going to be it for this install video. We have it in, we have it looking good, she's functioning. If you want to pick this inverter up, there is a link in the description on Amazon, but there are hundreds out there. Find one that works for you. Find one that has the right power output, but for now, this one's looking good for me. I don't plan on doing a whole lot with it, just charging batteries and maybe using it for car camping, small appliances or fans or whatever it may be. So thanks for tuning in. See y'all.